Back here with the Mountain West Conference Media Days, and we're here with head coach of Boise State, Chris Petersen. And Coach, this is your last one of these. This is like your swan song. Are you feeling sad about this one last trip to Vegas here?
No, that's not even really how we think. You know, as coaches and really in our program, I mean, we're just so focused on what we got to do. We have a lot of work to do. That we're really excited about this season, and, playing in this conference, and we know it's going to be a struggle, and there's going to be some, we got so many good rivalries in this conference that, we're not thinking about any sort of swan song or anything like that.
When you look back at maybe the 11th hour that it was, and we were all anxious to see whether, hey, are they really going to go? Are they going to sign the deal to the Big East? It came down to the last second. Was it always just going to go to the Big East? And what was the long wait? And we were all anxious. Were you anxious?
I wasn't so anxious, really, because I felt the decision was in good hands. Our president, our athletic director, obviously so much research, and it's not an easy decision anyway. It's really hard to know because the future just there's so much unpredictability of what's going on down the road, and so I think that's what probably took so long, is trying to figure out what the best thing is for Boise State to move forward.
Ultimately, do you like this move? Do you like heading to the Big East after this year and trying to get into a national championship game that way, as opposed to maybe trying to get into that 14 playoff along the way?
Again, I don't really think about it that way. I think our president's done a lot of soul searching, a lot of hard thinking on this and what's best for our entire university. What I think about is, if we just take care of our responsibility, the football part of things, whatever conference we're in, it should work out for us.
All right, I got to know, what are you doing at Boise State? 73-6. How do you do that? I mean, come on, seriously, you got to tell me something.
Well, I'll tell you this: there's no magic formula. That's first and foremost. That's a lot of things. And for me personally, I think a lot of it's timing and luck. I think Boise State's always been a place that's, if you research it all the way back to the junior college days, it's been a good football place. This last current run, it's just kind of all added up, and it starts with our players. We just had some really good players that have bought into our system, developed well, and that coupled with our fan base, our administration. I got to start there because I think coaches know you're only going so far, and not very far if you don't have that great administration. I think we're very supportive of administration.
It's amazing to, I think, a lot of people who are analysts in college football that you're still at Boise State. You're one of the most revered coaches in this game now amongst this landscape. You've been offered lucrative jobs, yet you stay at Boise State. Why?
Well, to me, I take the opposite approach. It's a little bit irritating to me when people have that opinion of Boise State and me and why am I still there. I think people don't know that have that opinion. I think there's a lot of coaches that say, you're really smart to stay and be at Boise State. It's a great place. I go back to the administration. We're continuing to build our stadiums, expanding. We have new football facilities coming next year. The salaries have increased to keep really good assistants. And so, at the end of the day, what makes you happy? And that's one of the things that I've always tried to focus on. A great place to live, where your family likes it, and you have a chance to earn wins. And that's what's going on in Boise. And I think at the end of the day, that's what all coaches want.
Chris Petersen, Boise State head coach, joining us here on No Static Sports. And Coach, I want to ask you, was there ever a moment in your life where you saw an offer and they recruited you so hard and you were thinking, man, should I do it? And were you close this last couple of years, or was that never ever a thought in your head?
No, and the one thing I don't say is that, on the other hand, there's people who say, oh, he's never leaving. And, I think that'd be a great thing if I didn't ever leave. But I'm one of the first ones to say I'm not going to say that because you can't predict the future and how things change. And there might be something down the road that, it's just the timing is right and you go do it. And so, you never say never. But Boise's a great place. There's not a job out there that I'm going, well, if that opens up, I'm going to go try to do that. And so there's been a couple things that, I paid attention to, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, it wasn't better than the situation that I'm in.
Boise State once again on the preseason hype list, at least in this conference. Does it matter to you, one, about what you see on this paper in the Mountain West Conference today, and two, those preseason rankings will come out. What does that mean to you that maybe you won't be in the top 15 or maybe in the top 20?
Well, that might be accurate if that happens. There's not a school in the country that's returning less starters than Boise State, and so we have a lot of work to do. Now, with that being said, whether we're ranked first or 100, whatever, that means nothing to us. It really doesn't. Now, I will say this: the rankings at the end of the season mean something to us because those are truly earned. But going into it, it's all hype and speculation, and that's something that we really we can't stand at Boise anyways. I mean, we just, from our players to our coaches, we really try to block out the noise.
You'll never fill the shoes of one Kellen Moore. And, they said that about Zabransky as well. And, here you got Joe Southwick coming on. Is this the next Kellen Moore?
Well, we don't know who. First of all, we really don't want to compare any of our quarterbacks to Kellen. I think that's not fair. He had just an unbelievable run. He had 4 years to do what he did. Now, with that being said, he set the standard, and those quarterbacks that are in our stable, so to speak, have got to learn from one of the best in terms of one of the best people around, how to prepare, how to run our system. And so that's been very, very positive for those guys. But we don't know who our quarterback's going to be right now. We feel good. We think we got some good talent there. But, all those kids made good strides in spring ball. And then we don't get to coach them, for another few days. And then we get back out there and, in a couple of weeks we'll have to figure out, hey, who's going to be our guy. And so we're excited about that.
Boise State head coach Chris Petersen, our guest here on No Static Sports, and Coach Kellen Moore, undrafted. What's up with that? The winningest quarterback in NCAA history? What happened there? And is he going to make somebody pay? He's being with the Lions now. I mean, what do you think about that as a coach at this level, knowing what he did?
Yeah, it's really hard for me to have a really strong opinion because I haven't been in the NFL and I just don't know. Being on the inside, and it all. The first thing is it always comes down to that beauty pageant. Does he fit the mold? Well, Kellen didn't fit the mold for a college quarterback, let alone an NFL quarterback. But all I know is he's the best I've ever been around, and I've been doing this for over about 25 years, and without question, the best in terms of accuracy, and decision making, pocket presence, toughness, and all those things I know is exactly what the NFL quarterbacks are all about. And so if he gets with the right people in the right system, I think he can be in there for a long time. Whether he's a starter or a backup, I don't know. But to me, he's a special guy. There's no doubt.
When you look at Derek Carr for Fresno State, do you see those same qualities that Kellen had, that maybe Derek is the next generation here of being the big name quarterback in this league?
Yeah, there's no question. I think he's one of those guys that everybody knows about and is paying attention to, and has done some very good things and has a tremendous upside. I know from our standpoint, he's going to be a scary opponent, as well as the whole Fresno State group. But for us on offense, our thinking is it always starts with the quarterback. And I know, if you're starting there thinking about Fresno State, he's a pretty good guy to start with.
Fans in Fresno want to know where the milk can is. And you guys have been keeping it from Fresno State for a very long time. This rivalry will end after this year. We don't know if these two teams will ever get together again. What is this? Some say it's not a rivalry because Boise State always kicks butt against Fresno State. But I would say Fresno State fans adore Boise State and want this program to continue playing your program. One, do you think it'll continue? And two, what does it mean to you that this will be the last year until who knows?
Let me first go back to the milk can and the dairy boosters. So that was really cool, 6-7 years ago when this whole thing started, maybe even longer. And I don't know his name, but there was a dairy booster in Fresno, and I know the dairy booster is really important to the Fresno program, and we're connected to some of the Boise dairy people up there. And so the dairy people in Boise said, well, hey, if they're doing it in Fresno, let's do something in Boise. And the dairy industry, I know is in a tough situation right now, and I have so much respect for those dairy farmers. Certainly in Boise, those guys continue to support us and help us grow our program. And they're struggling in their industry. And so I just really want to go back and hats off to all those guys, even in Fresno, that are doing such a great job helping us do what we're trying to do. Secondly, I think that because we're going into a different league, I don't see us not playing Fresno. I think everybody likes that game. I know when we came into the WAC way back when, it was all about Fresno State. It was Fresno State, Pat Hill, those guys set the standard. And we've been fortunate to play very well against Fresno in the past. But I will say this, there's nobody that we respected more than Fresno State, Pat, and all the things that they had done. And they made us better without question.
Coach, I want to leave you with this, and I know this is kind of not always a funny way to leave this conversation. No means I'm not joking about any of this, but you're a big-time winner in this college game, and you saw, and we've all seen the biggest winner of all, Joe Pa, go down. His legacy is tainted. As a coach that is well respected in this college landscape as you are, what does that say? What the NCAA did to Penn State, and what does it say for coaches like Joe Paterno? What's your assessment of all of it?
It's really hard to put any of this in words. It's been discussed ad nauseum, and so. But for me, it's just tragic. It's just tragic on so many fronts. Starting with what happened, and then the situation that's happening to Penn State now. But I do think there's just so many lessons to be learned in this. And that's the one thing that we cannot forget as we move forward. Of just always doing the right thing. And I think it just comes down to that. No matter how difficult some of these decisions are, you just got to do the right thing.
Coach, have a great season. I know Fresno State will be looking forward to getting that milk can one more time. And so don't hide it from us now.
No, I won't. And, that's always a fun week because we have so much respect for Fresno State, what they do and their fans. And it's a great program down there. And like I said, I think that Fresno has made Boise State better. And we look forward to that week when it comes.
All right, thank you so much, Coach. I appreciate the conversation. I don't get to talk to you ever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry it took a little longer, but
no, you're good.
Good luck to you, huh?